What's going on, everyone? So, the Golden State Warriors in this Jonathan Kuminga situation just never ceases to end, right? So last reports, there were hey, we expect you bright and early on training camp. We're going to call your bluff and you're going to stay with this team. Too bad. Got options. You can either pick up, your qualifying offer and then go hit free agency, or you can take a 2-year deal, right? We'll figure it out from there, right? Well, so far, we haven't gotten a word on Jonathan Kuminga and what he's going to do, but now the Golden State Warriors are interested in maybe working out a double sign and trade and turning Jonathan Kuminga into a Josh Giddey from the Chicago Bulls, which is something that could make sense for both sides. Now, Chicago really likes Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey was actually very good for them last year. They're a team that, wants to and plans on keeping Josh Giddey by all accounts, right? But you might be able to get a Jonathan Kuminga, and in return, now you don't maybe have to move an Io DeSumo, right? Maybe you don't have to move, any of these guards, a Kobe White or these guys that you might have had to move prior. Right? There were already talks, they already moved off Alonzo Ball. There were talks about them still wanting to get off of Io DeSumo, Kobe White, right? Because they need to pay and get on and give Josh Giddey the main guard spot. And you still have Trey Jones and all these guys, right? So you have plenty of guards, right? You're flushed with point guards, and now you're about to pay, Josh Giddey 25 to 30 million. It's like, if you're the Chicago Bulls, do you maybe try to go and say, hey, we could maybe solve or maybe our starting 4 spot or something, and then maybe that gives us a potential to go trade a Patrick Williams and then kind of recoup some assets. So maybe we just do this sort of swap where they get Josh Giddey, we get Jonathan Kuminga, and then we can look to maybe trade a Patrick Williams or some of these other guys to gain some assets. And now you kind of have your kind of core and foundation there. Right? Or if you want that other playmaking guard, you can always go find that, right? There's options out there. There's potential. There's also, the draft where you can maybe go draft somebody. There's a couple names in the draft coming up next year, right? So could be something that could kind of benefit and favor both sides. If you're the Warriors, Josh Giddey, okay, sure, right? Gives you size, gives you playmaking, gives you a young kind of foundation piece for the post Steph Curry era, but also gives you a guy that, Steph can now play off of, right? So you can let Josh Giddey kind of run the point, Steph as your 2. You got somebody that has size, that can play defense, right? Can make plays, rebound, get you, a near triple-double every night, right? Kind of fits in that system. Also, can kind of give you that versatility because of his size to play multiple positions. Right? You can kind of have him in the Draymond role at times and kind of be that point forward and slot in spots and maybe kind of go with some shooting and, maybe go with a Pod and a Steph and then have a Josh Giddey and then, a Jimmy Butler and then Draymond Green. Right? And now you kind of just have the small ball version and the ball's moving and you have these guys that are playmaking and Draymond and Giddey and stuff. So there is sense there. And it's what are you going to get that's better than Josh Giddey for Jonathan Kuminga, especially in the position that you're in? Right? It's just how far would the Warriors go? What would Chicago want? Right? Would there be assets involved? Right? Do the Warriors look at Jonathan Kuminga higher than Josh Giddey? Do the Bulls look at Josh Giddey higher than Jonathan Kuminga? Or is it just going to be a clean swap? Right? Your guy wants 25 million, my guy wants 25 million. Let's just make it work. But you also got to keep in mind cap implications, right? The Warriors are 25 and some change under the first apron. If you work out a double sign and trade, now they're both hard capped, right? So Chicago's got to be wary of, the contract situation. The Warriors have to be wary of the contract situation. Warriors supposedly have spit in a handshake type of deals with guys like DeAnthony Melton, Al Horford, and Gary Payton II, which is great if they can sign him. But if you give Josh Giddey, 23 million, and now you only have $1.5 million over, from the first apron hard cap, guess what? Yeah, you're not signing those guys. So you have to also work out the contract. What is Josh Giddey willing to take? Right? And you don't want to put yourself in this position again, just now it's with a different player. Right? So now, what? Now you give, Josh Giddey's I don't want, I want 30 million. And it's okay, well, what do? Do you poison pill the contract? Do you do something like that where, maybe he's making 20 million this year and it like goes 25 next and then 30 next and then so on and so forth, and then it all just kind of averages out to 30? Or do you do something where it's like a shorter term deal, right? Where you do a 1+1 and you bring him in, but then now you're running the risk of losing him next year. And it's like, then you just essentially gave Jonathan Kuminga away. So they're really going to have to evaluate from both sides. Same thing with Chicago, right? Like, what does Jonathan Kuminga want? If you're Chicago, what are you willing to pay Jonathan Kuminga, right? Like the cap situation also, you got to keep in mind, you're going to be hard cap, right? So, both sides, there is sense to be made. Like Chicago kind of has an abundance of guards. It's like, if we can turn a guard into a forward that has star potential, like I really like Jonathan Kuminga. I think the entire issue with Jonathan Kuminga, which, is consistency on his end too, but Steve Kerr's done him no favors. Like don't get me wrong. He has these moments, he has these games, he has these stretches where you're just like, God, this guy, but then you have games and moments and stretches where you're like, dude, this guy might be the best player in the league in 3 years. Right? But Steve Kerr also doesn't give him consistency. It's like Jonathan Kuminga doesn't have a role. And Jonathan Kuminga's even expressed this. Right? He's even talked about, like, the next place I go to, I want to have a part, play a role, be an intricate part. Like, I don't have to be the guy, but I'd like to know what I'm doing, right? Like, where, you watch him with the Warriors, and it's like, one game they're asking him to be the best player on the team, or the second best player next to Steph. And then the next game, it's like, hey, you're going to get a DMP. Right? Or he'll go and drop 25 points and have an excellent game. And it's like, hey, great job. You know how we're going to reward you? Yeah, you're going to play 10 minutes tomorrow. Like, it's like, again, he's all over the place. Right? Like, you don't get any consistency. One night he's starting, next minute he's coming off the bench, and then the next minute he's not playing, and then the next minute, like, it's like, again, how does he develop and get some consistency? How does he... Like, you want him to be more consistent. He has these issues and he has this, that, and the other. How do you get over that unless you actually get the opportunity and the fair shake? And look, Steve Kerr's not known to like love young guys and want to play all these guys. Right? He has kind of his core guys. He has his group. He has the guys that he likes to play. And then everyone else has just like, a much shorter leash. Right? And it's just, Jonathan Kuminga has all the tools, all the potential to be great. It's just, he needs to find that team in that place that's willing to kind of spend the time to unlock him over the next like year or two. And I think he's a guy that could really pay dividends to the right team in the right situation. Chicago makes a lot of sense for him, right? Because he'll get to go there, kind of be one of the foundation pieces on a young team, kind of retooling and rebuilding. I don't hate it. I really don't. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you like the idea of the Kuminga for a, just double sign and trade type thing? Is that something, Josh Giddey for Jonathan Kuminga? Or do you think like, nah, like not the move, not the play? Either way, let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.